What do you both think about academies? Katie first.
Well, I think they are a good idea. I think it's a good system because every school comes out as an individual school and individually accountable. What's interesting is the kind of parents who never felt they could choose schools now feel they can. And they're actually quite critical of some academies, which is good because, of course, they're not perfect, but it's a good way forward.
Francis?
Yes.
I think it's a gigantic waste of money. Billions are being thrown at this programme, and we know from the States and from Sweden and from our own evidence here that academies don't raise standards. Just because you called an academy doesn't make the teaching better in the school. What raises standards is quality of teaching. And so, I think the government are doing this for an ideological reason. Effectively, in my view, it's sort of privatisation by the back door, and it's taking public-owned property and putting it in private hands.
The government argues that academies do drive up standards by putting more power in the hands of head teachers over pay, length of school day, term times, curriculum.
I would argue that they don't. I mean, I think that teachers in academies often have a lot less power than they would in a local authority school. The chains that run academies are very dictatorial institutions who basically order what teachers should do.
Exactly, Katie. Ofsted Chief Sir Michael Wilshaw has criticised sizable academy chains for failing to improve the results of pupils while paying board members large salaries. They might be able to control their own admissions. Do they have the power to then discriminate as well?
Well, I mean, I think Michael Wilshaw is absolutely right to criticise bad academies, and we must all do so. But I've got a feeling that if Francis took over a school and it was an academy, he'd make a great job of it, and he'd get some lovely teachers.
Thank you very much, Katie.
And you see, it would be an opportunity. You would not be controlled by an education authority, which tells you you've got to do child-centred learning.
I think that's an utter myth. That's a myth. Local authorities don't talk like that to
Well, they
schools.
have done
I
for
think
many
what
decades.
they do is they ensure that there are decent paying conditions for teachers in them, and that's the problem with academies. Is that the paying conditions are just up the wall, and you can have unqualified staff in academies, and that's problematic.
Just briefly on that note, Sean Watson says on Facebook, teacher unions will strike soon. They barely have a life as it is without the extra hour, because they're talking about longer school days in England as well, meaning they won't finish until 11. Do you think that's viable?
It isn't viable, and we know that there's huge.
Do you think it's possible
dropout.
that teachers might want to strike over this?
Possibly. I mean, I think that we know that there's huge dropout rate of teachers in academies already at the moment, and the increased school day is going to cause even more problems.